Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back here at Moss Acura of North Tampa, and guess what? Even though it just got done raining, the show must go on, and look what we have for you. This is a 2023 Acura TLX Type S. But before we get into this turbocharged all-wheel drive performance sedan, let's talk about what's going on here. Acura, been around since '86. Nobody's denying that. But one thing that a lot of people fail to remember is Acura has some of the most iconic names. The Acura Legend, the Integra, the NSX, and then guess what? They went big when they brought back the Type S badge to the TLX. Now what's interesting is that now most of their lineup has a performance version with the Type S badge on it. The only vehicle is the RDX. But what I want to find out with this review is that there is a lot of competition when it comes to luxury performance sedans. Should you get this TLX Type S, or should you maybe go with a BMW M340i? Or possibly, when you're looking at price point, is it better to go with the Integra Type S? Let's go ahead, let's dive into this performance red TLX Type S and find out. Right off the bat, the color. With the sun coming out, even with the raindrops, it looks absolutely sexy. I love the way when they did the redesign of the TLX, they widened the front and they made the nose a little bit longer. It gives it nice proportions. At the front of the business, you're gonna get full LED lighting, multi-jewel LED headlight beams, LED turn signals, and that precision crafted performance chicane daytime running lamp. Working our way down, we have functionality. Massive lower corner air intakes for the heat exchangers. I like the way that the design is the same as you'll see of the center grille. You got a little bit of gloss black. We got race cars going by. Everybody get out of the streets. Dropping it all the way down, you are gonna get a gloss black splitter that extends pretty much across the whole front of the vehicle. Now, as we slide into top dead center here, I think we could both agree that this is the better looking front nose compared to the BMW M340i. M340i kind of getting weird with the shape. I'm liking the grille. There's that same design. Everything has been enlarged to flow more air. You got the gloss black around the perimeter, the Type S badge, and it's not just a badge. Wait until I pop the hood. And then as we drop down to the lower grille area, you'll notice that bright silver massive intercooler for our turbocharger. And I like the way they kept this area wide open. I think another thing that was smart from a design standpoint is to bring the splitter kind of tapered in the center portion. We all know sometimes those parking blocks can get a little high. But as we rise up, you got that nice long hood. Definitely has more character than the BMW M340i. Now, when you're comparing it to the smaller sibling, the Integra Type S is looking mighty damn good with those flared fenders, but you have a nice peak that rides towards the windshield and then kind of disappears, and I like these two higher crests on both sides of the hood. Now, when we come around the bend, what's nice about this particular one is we have the performance wheel and brake setup on here. So what you're gonna find are these gunmetal metallic gray wheels. Y-spoke design simulates the NSX. So these looks just like an NSX. If you hear that beeping, they're actually delivering a whole batch of Twinkies for lunch. So that's what that beeping was. That's the Twinkie truck, the Hostess truck. But you have your NSX style wheel. This is an option. And of course, those massive Brembo calipers, bright cherry red with the Acura name. You have, of course, enlarged discs, all four corners compared to the standard TLX. And remember, even with the all-wheel drive, 70% of the power could go towards the rear wheels. So wait until we go on throttle together. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what's the size of the tire? 20-inch wheel, tire is gonna be 255 on the width, 20 series sidewall. Let me know what you think about the color combination. I think they hit the nail on the head. Now, when we come down the side, instead of having fake vents or anything like that, we just have the simplicity of the Type S badge. You have gloss black on the mirror caps, turn signals, slim and trim. And then one zonk I have to give this particular vehicle is that with it being a Type S, I would like to see a panoramic sunroof. All you get, and Steven's gonna show you, is a standard size sunroof. You get that on the Integra, you get that on the BMW. I would like to see a panoramic roof. Another thing I like from the side is how they did the body lines. It almost looks like an elongated two-door. And here's why. The belt line here tapers high into the rear fender and through the rear door, gives it a great look. I think the only other thing I would like to see, of course we have color matched door handles is a nice side sill extension to match the splitter and the spoiler that we have out back. But as we come towards the back, you'll notice that we have 255s all four corners. I guess the other zonk is we don't have Brembos on the rear. Would be nice to have Brembos all four corners. If you're gonna have Brembos, have all. It's like opening a package of Twinkies. Are you just gonna eat one, or are you gonna eat the two? If there's two in the package, eat the two. That's how you do it. Now when we wrap it around the back, one of my favorite parts of the TLX is that nice flared fender that they give to the rear. Almost makes it look like a rear-wheel drive car. You have this aggressive gloss black trunklet spoiler. Great LED lighting, no light bulbs whatsoever, full LED lighting. They hide the button for the trunk very nicely. You got your Acura badge, all that precision crafted performance. And then working our way all the way down, things get really good. Super handling all-wheel drive. Look at the way that they hide the DOT reflector into the rear bumper. And then we have that active quad tip exhaust. Nice slash cut, staggered tips. You can make it louder, you can make it quieter, depends on the mode that you're in or the mood that you're in. And then look at that rear diffuser, right off an Acura race car, the GTP race car in the IMSA WeatherTech series. Well, why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and talk horsepower of this TLX. All right, guys, we got the hood popped on this TLX Type S. Unlike the BMW, you're not going to find a straight six like in that BMW. You're not even gonna find a 4-cylinder turbo like in the Integra Type S. What do? You get your own unique power plant. It's a V6 single turbocharged engine. So what you're looking at is a 3-liter V6 with that turbocharger putting out 355 horsepower, 354 pound-feet of torque. It's made it to a 10-speed automatic with the super handling all-wheel drive, 0 to 60 in about 4.7 seconds. Quarter mile goes by at 13.4, and the top speed is right around 155 miles per hour. Now, when it comes to MPGs, you're looking at 19 in the city, 24 on the highway, and the vehicle weighs around 4,200 pounds. Now, when you're looking at the engine compartment, I do like the way they have the turbo smack dab right on top where you could see it. Nice large turbocharger. Not the best engine cover, but it's also not the worst, so I'm not gonna zonk that. But what I do like is internally, you actually have some forged componentry, like forged rods on this engine compared to that BMW. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire up this V6 turbocharged engine and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside this 2023 Acura TLX Type S. You know, it's one of those cars that it's really built for an enthusiast, and I'm glad that Acura's doing it, especially because of the other competition. Now, if you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I've been wanting a luxury performance sedan. I've always liked Hondas and Acuras. They've always treated me well, have been bulletproof. How much is this one? Because the Integra is just a little too small for me. I need something a little bit bigger, and I like all-wheel drive. Very good question. The way that this one is optioned with the performance wheel and brake package is going to be right at an MSRP of $58,000. Just to put that in perspective for you, remember an Acura Integra Type S that is not all-wheel drive, it's front-wheel drive, manual transmission, so on and so forth, that has an MSRP of around $52,000. But let's see how it compares to the Integra Type S and the BMW M340i to the door panels. Love the clean style. Soft touch material, that's real aluminum trim. You got ambient lighting built into that aluminum trim. And then you'll notice we have the ELS Premium 3D Studio sound system, red contrast stitching, no gloss black to report. Very happily said about that. And then of course the door pocket, big enough easily for 2 Arby's beef and cheddars, tons of horsey sauce, and a bottle of Dr. Pepper to wash it down. Now going from the door panel to the dash, same story. The materials in here are phenomenal, consistent red stitching everywhere, no gloss black. You slide on in, what do you get greeted to? A 10.25 infotainment system screen. Now I guess the big zonk for most people is that you could touch it, it just doesn't do anything. It's not a touch screen. You gotta use the precision touchpad, which I'll show you how to use that. It's actually quite simple. You push on the buttons and the pad just like you would the screen. So I could bring up navigation very easily. There's the navigation. We could go back home. You can see it's got Amazon Alexa, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, the whole 9 yards. You can slide around, see all the different apps that you get. And then you could also scroll on the right column as well separately. My favorite part is the dynamic mode controller. You turn that, and that's what makes the graphics come alive, just like you're playing a freaking video game. Back in the arcade day, I spent a lot of quarters on pole position and outrun, but nice to have those different modes. You even have individual, where you could customize each of the different settings, which is nice. Very fascinated with how they did such a good job on those graphics. Let me throw it into reverse. There's our backup camera. Not the largest and not the best resolution, but the good news is you can change camera angles, which is nice. And then you're right back into park. Working our way down, we have our dual climate control with real switches. Don't have to go through the infotainment system screen. You got 3 levels of ventilated seats, 3 levels of heated seats. There's our dynamic mode selector knob. This is going to control your 10-speed automatic. And then here's the touchpad I was telling you about. It's not a mouse pad. You actually pretend that this is the screen and this is where you're touching. And then this operates the right-hand side. Real volume knob, no gloss black, 2 cup holders, wireless charging, and a place to rest your hand after a hard day at work. And then of course the key fob. They give you a Type S specific key fob. Thank you, Acura, for that. You got your remote start, which is great. Soft material, the red stitching. Open this up, 2 USB-A's, an aux jack, a 12 volt, and you could probably fit, I would say, 4 Rubik's Cubes in here. And think about it, you could get 3 other people and you can compete with those people. Seats, love the leather, the Type S badge, Alcantara all the way down, red stitching, electric assist for the passenger, electric assist for the driver, and you have that standard size sunroof. But why don't you get your butt over here to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel of the TLX Type S. In the wheel you get 2 memory seat settings. I like the way you have the aluminum Type S sill plate. One of the best pedal boxes in the business. Nice large aluminum dead pedal, brake pedal, and throttle. Of course, you got your Type S all-weather protection on the floor mats. That's worth an extra 5 horsepower. We got our seat controls. I'm 6 feet tall. I got plenty of room in here. Steering wheel, a place where you're gonna wanna rub your hands all over. I like the 2-piece leather, the Type S badge, flat bottom. You do have paddles on the back of the steering wheel to go through that 10-speed automatic. It is a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then the dash is a little bit of a hybrid setup. And what I mean by that is you have that large analog display in the center, but then you, digital display in the center, but then you have the analog gauges flanking that on both sides, tachometer, speedometer. I like the way it's got the super handling all-wheel drive distribution in the center. You could scroll through a cornucopia of information. The one zonk is there's no head-up display. At this price point, there should be a head-up display. You do get one in the Integra Type S, but why don't we get into the back seat and see what kind of room your passengers have in this TLX Type S. All right, guys, back seat time, and this is where you're gonna see the difference, especially, of course, with the smaller Integra. The Integra is a compact, this is larger, and has more room than the BMW 3 Series. Back to the seats, you'll see some of the leather, you'll see some of the plastic. The good news is this is easy to clean, those creamy fingerprints that your kids are probably gonna put here after eating their Twinkies. Plenty of room here to put at least a 4-stack of silver dollar pancakes from IHOP. You do have AC vents, but the bad news is no connectivity. WTF, Acura on that one. That's definitely a zonk. Love the room though. 6 feet tall still, have plenty of room in here. Seats look just as good as the ones up front with the Alcantara, the leather, the stitching. And then you pull down the armrest. Woo! Charmin soft with a Twinkie holder and 2 cup holders. But why don't we go ahead, let's get into the trunk area and see how much room is in this TLX. All right guys, time to get into the trunk area. You hit this button perfectly placed. It's so clean in that rear taillight lens housing area. Hit that, you lift it up. You're gonna be greeted to quite an amazing amount of space for a sedan. This is 16 cubic feet of space. I love the Type S all-weather cargo protection. Those rear seats do fold down, but one thing I want to point out, and I'm actually going to fold one of the seats down by holding, you're going to pull one of these levers right here. You see that? They make it real easy for you to be able to pull it down. One thing I want to show you is you actually do have bracing back here. That is something that comes specific on the Type S, and you still can pass some things through, but that shows you what type of car that this is. They actually thought about stiffening up the rear of the car to give it that balance handling dynamic. You're getting more trunk space than a BMW 3 Series. You are falling short when you compare it to an Integra Type S, but you know what? If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle with this turbocharged all-wheel drive TLX Type S. All right guys, we left Moss Acura North Tampa. We're in this 2023 Acura TLX Type S. Right away, I love the way everything is organized in here. It's so easy to get to everything. And that's one of the reasons why I think especially this particular car does not have a touch infotainment system screen, is because to get to it, it's quite a reach there. But other than that, everything else is nicely laid out. It's sprinkling a little bit, but you know what? I kind of don't care because we have that super handling all-wheel drive. I'm gonna use the paddles to shift through the 10-speed automatic. I'm gonna come to a complete stop here so I can show you what that grip level's all about. First gear, on throttle, here we go, look at that. Nice. All grip, no slip. Look at this. Very precise on the steering. And that's something that Acura and Honda has always done well, is their steering is very precise. The steering wheel itself feels amazing. Remember, the brake system in here is taken right off of the NSX, the current NSX, basically the last generation of the NSX, which is kind of cool to have some of that DNA pumped through this TLX Type S. Instrumentation is easy to read. Love the way you got a boost gauge, G meter, and then those backlit bright red LED gauges that are analog flanking the digital display. Seats are comfy. I would like a little bit more bolstering out of them, especially on the top portion. There could be a little bit more, but other than that, this is going to be that performance sedan where you could have that great daily driver, but also you could let it all hang out when you find your favorite twisty road to wherever you're going. The room in here is spacious. It's just lacking some of those technological touches like a head-up display and having, of course, connectivity in the backseat for those backseat passengers. All right, guys, we're gonna go on throttle again. On throttle. Nice, purposeful shifts from that 10-speed automatic. On the brakes, look at this. Very composed. And no body roll whatsoever. It's incredible just how much work they did to the chassis of this car and to the super handling all-wheel drive. Remember, it's sending power from the front wheels to the rear wheels, up to 70% of that power. And you have, of course, that 10-speed automatic transmission. But I'm gonna slow down here. We're gonna do second gear, and then we're gonna go on throttle. On throttle, here we go. Look at that, fast shifts. On the brakes, downshift. This is where you get to have fun. Let your hair down, let your mullet out. You get to have fun, and The TLX Type S loves to be thrown around, even though it's a little bit larger car, especially compared to the Acura Type S or even the BMW M340i. It still loves to be thrown around. I'm gonna go ahead and put it back into regular automatic shift mode, and you'll see that the shifts are very, very crisp and precise. It doesn't chase through the gearbox, which is nice, like some other 10 speeds that are out there, you know, on the market and in the industry. But you have all of your easy touches to get to, that dynamic mode selector knob, and you'll see when you go into normal, I mean, it's quiet in here. All you hear is the AC vents. But for me, I gotta let it be heard. Sport Plus sounds good, just enough sound. It's not too obnoxious. There's not all these artificial pops and bangs that BMW likes to do, but I am digging the sound of the Acura Type S. But for many of you who are like, I want the Acura Type S to have an automatic, this has it. I want the Acura Type S to have all-wheel drive, this has it. And yes, even though it's a little bit more than an Acura Type S, it's really not that much more, but you are getting more in the car and you're getting more car to it. So something to think about when you're deciding where you want to place your hard-earned money. But as you can see, just doing normal street driving, very smooth. You do get a little bit of road noise from those performance tires, but nothing too crazy that you're not going to experience with any of the competitors. Visibility is great, and then you also have all the safety features, which are going to keep you and your passengers safe, which is nice. But just nice torque delivery. There's not a bunch of boost lag, which is great. You got the brakes for when people just pull out in front of you. Our throttle drops down and we're off. Look at that. And I'm really digging how that super handling all-wheel drive gauge shows how the power gets distributed to all four corners. But I like the way that the 10-speed downshifts. It almost like blips it just a little bit and then downshifts all by itself. But it does a good job of letting the engine breathe through the rev range, then shifting. You got your lane departure. They want me to put both hands on the steering wheel, but you know me, I love talking with my hands. So that's a little bit of an issue, I'm sure, for this vehicle. But other than that, I know that many of you, and let me know in the comment section, are you zonking that it's not a touchscreen? Let me know that. One of the things that I do like that it's not a touchscreen is you don't get your fried chicken greasy fingerprints all over it. It's gonna stay clean 12 months out of the year. It's like the gift that keeps on giving all year long. But hopefully this has been a nice clean overview. Sorry about the raindrops, but hey, this is typical Florida weather during the summertime. We're gonna get back to Moss Acura and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been a crazy kind of day here at Moss Acura, North Tampa. Definitely gotta thank Albert and the rest of the crew getting us access to this Performance Red 2023 TLX Type S. Let me know what you think. Does this bring more for the money than the Acura Type S? Even though it is a little bit more money over the Acura Type S, do you prefer this over a BMW M340i? Let me know down in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Radies Rides family. Of course, we need to give it up to Stephen Flood. Stephen Flood Photography, making the magic happen. Show him some love in the comment section. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.